Science and Math for 6th grade. Today we're doing lesson number 17. We're going to talk about measuring angles. Make sure you add this to your table of contents while you take your notes today. Let's review what we already know. You already know 3 types of angles. I did not include a straight angle since that looks like a line. You already know that a 90-degree angle is a right angle. Or, otherwise said, that a right angle is 90 degrees. Make yourself a little note because we'll be talking about that later. You already know that an acute angle is less than 90 degrees. It's a cute little angle. And you already know that an obtuse angle is greater than 90 degrees. It's bigger. Put those 3 little notes up on the top of your paper to help you today. When we measure an angle, we use a very special tool called a protractor. And I did my very best to draw one today. We'll use one in class, but I want you to know how to use it so that you'll come prepared. Please draw this. Start with a straight line. Draw a curve to meet it. Should look like half a circle. In the middle, you need to put a little open dot. And then you need to number your protractor. In the middle goes 90 degrees. Just above the line on one side goes a 0. So draw a little line just above the bottom. And just above the line on the other side goes 180 degrees. Then you're going to mark off in between. 15, 30, 45. 45 should be right in the middle between 0 and 90. 60, 75, 90. 105, 120, 135. That should be about halfway between 90 and 180. 150, 165, 180. Pause the video here, please. Get your protractor drawn, and then we'll talk about how to use it. Welcome back. Okay, so this is our protractor, and it's of course just a drawn something. In real life, when you have one, it's going to be a piece of plastic. And it's a clear piece of plastic. And here's what you do with the protractor. This middle dot is really important. This middle dot is for the point of the angle. See this point right here? Where the 2 rays come together? That middle point lines up right on this dot. So if I had an angle underneath that I was measuring, the point of the angle would be right there. Now, let's say I have an acute angle. Here we go. I put the point right there, and I'm going to line up one side of the angle with the 0. Got to find the 0. You must find the 0. When we get to class tomorrow, you'll see there's multiple numbers, and finding the 0 is really important. So here's my angle, and I line up the line underneath with the 0. Good. So the point's in the middle, and I lined up the line with the 0. My protractor's on top. Now, let's say that the line underneath goes up this way and passes through the other line just about here. Now you can see I have an angle, and we can use the numbers on our protractor to make a really good guess about how big our angle is. And we start at 0, and we want to measure this much. Well, it's 15, 30, 45, 60, more than 60, but a lot less than 75. I guess maybe this angle is about maybe 65 degrees. Put your little circle at the top, that means degrees. This is an acute angle. When you're measuring something and you look at it and you go, oh, that's less than a right angle, that's an acute angle, you should get a number that's less than 90. When you're measuring an obtuse angle, you should look at it and go, oh, that's bigger than 90. You should get an angle measure that's greater than 90. Let's look at what an obtuse measure might look like. If I had a different angle, and I followed the same steps, I put the points and I lined it up in the middle. I took the bottom line and I lined it up with the 0. And then I looked at where my other line came out, and my other line came out all the way over here. Now I have an obtuse angle. It's greater than 90. Let's see what it would be. It's greater than 90, greater than 105, greater than 150, but less than 165. Let's see, based on this, I would guess it's at about maybe 155 degrees. And this is how you measure an angle. Super easy, right? Let me warn you so you're prepared for class tomorrow. On your protractor, there will be two sets of numbers. One set of numbers starts at 0 on this side and counts around, just like this. The other set starts at 0 on the other side and counts around this way. It's an inner line. 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, still 90, no matter which way you count, 105, 120, 135, 150, 165, and then back to 180. You need to recognize in your brain whether you have an acute or an obtuse angle so that you know which set of these numbers you're going to be using. Two ways to think about it. One, I lined up my bottom line here. So I want to use this 0, because this is the 0 mark. So I want to use this set of numbers, because those are the ones I'm measuring from. 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, all the way up to 150. Second way to think about it. This is clearly an obtuse angle. Look how big that angle is. Obtuse angles are larger than 90. So when I get over here to measure, am I going to guess it's about 20 degrees or about 150? I'm going to guess it's about 155, because that's larger than 90. If I guessed it was about 20 degrees, that would be a pretty small angle. That would be wrong as well. The reason there is this second set of numbers is because if you had an angle going the opposite direction, which we'll show you here, and which you can put in your notes, you would be able to measure it. So, if I had an angle, and I put the point in the middle, like always, and line it up with the 0 line, see I'm using this inner set of numbers here, and then I measure up around on the inner set of numbers, and if my line went about here, 0, 15, 30, 45, 60, ooh, but not quite to 75. This is probably about a 70-degree angle. When I look at it, I think that's an acute angle, so it's less than 90. 70 degrees makes sense as an answer because it is less than 90. And I started at my 0 and used that set of numbers. In this case, it's the inner set of numbers. When you get your protractors tomorrow, be ready to look at which set of numbers are you starting at, so you know how to measure your angles.